How's it going everyone? I hope you're all doing good. Welcome to another video in the Drawing the Mannequin series. In this one, we are going to be learning a lot about drawing in perspective, looking at how to go about planning out your drawings by controlling the camera. And you might not know what I mean by that, and that's okay because I'll explain everything that you need to know. Before we begin, it might also be worth me saying that most of what I'll be explaining here has to some extent already been covered throughout many videos on my channel. I have to shout out one video in particular, which is the one I made explaining the horizon line and vanishing points. I'd recommend watching that along with this one. Now when it comes to planning out a drawing, you have a few things to consider. One of these things is the angle and position of the subject you are drawing. For example, it's the mannequin that's moving here. And we are just viewing it from the same angle, but that doesn't have to be the case because in addition to that, we can also control the angle we view the subject on, something that I'll refer to as the camera angle. Now, to keep all of this simple to understand, imagine you are controlling a camera like you would in real life, and the drawing we create is the image that that camera captures. We can move this camera anywhere we want and point it in any direction to create different images, and as we move the camera, the drawing in perspective will also change. There are numerous ways of moving the camera that I'll explain now, and I'll use some 3D modeling software to help illustrate this, along with some simple diagrams in the corner of the screen. Here I have a simple square box, and right now the camera is looking at this box directly from the front. If we was drawing this, the horizon line would be across the center of the screen, like so. And you might be wondering how I know this. Well, I know this because the horizon line is also our eye level, which in this case can also be referred to as the camera level. Quick side note, we often refer to the horizon line as our eye level because instead of imagining the drawing to be the result of what a camera would see, we imagine it to be the result of what a person would see, and this can cause some confusion. I think that the camera analogy is more comprehensible, especially in this context. And so moving forward, we'll replace terms such as the eye level with the camera level, and there's other terms we'll refer to as something else soon. For now, let's focus on understanding the camera level. So here on screen, by looking at the diagram to the side, you can see the level of the camera relative to the box, and this is the image that that camera captures. Now if I was to raise the camera level like so, you can see how we are then above the box and we start to see the top of it until we are too high to see it. It's also the same case when I move the camera down. Here we see underneath the box until we are too low to see it. So that is the camera level, and we can move it up or down, and those are the results we get. Now, it would be a bit pointless having a camera that can only move up or down. That's why we are also able to tilt the camera and angle it in any direction. When I move the camera level up and the box starts to move out of frame, I can simply tilt the camera downwards to see it. Notice how to do this, the camera has to raise up, also changing the camera level that we discussed a moment ago. As we look down on the box from a higher angle, you'll notice that in this case, the camera level, which remember is our horizon line, moves out of frame. We can tilt the camera up and down and also pan the camera, in which we angle the camera side to side. It's quite hard to explain this movement through a two-dimensional side view like this, so here's a top-down view showing what the camera is doing. We'll refer to this as changing the camera angle. This is essentially what you'll often hear referred to as our line of sight. Again, the term line of sight is used in relation to what a person sees. They can look up and down, side to side, or in any angle as well, the same way our camera does. But again, let's refer to this as the camera angle. And I can change the camera angle along with the camera level to get some interesting results. Here for instance, I've lowered the camera level and angled the camera upwards to see underneath the box. I can also pan the camera side to side like so. Here the camera swivels in a fixed position. So that's the camera angle changed by tilting and panning the camera in any direction. Now there's one more way we can move this camera to capture different images, and that's by changing the camera position. The camera position is rather self-explanatory, and it's the term that I'll use to replace what instead might have been referred to as the position of the viewer. Here I'm best illustrating this by including a top-down view of this scene here, in which we have the camera looking at the box. I can change where I position the camera to see the box from different angles. Now all of what I've discussed so far, the camera level, the camera angle and the camera position, are all able to be controlled together to see the subject, in this case the box, in different ways, and capture some interesting images which again for us are interesting drawings. When you are planning out a drawing, it's those 3 points of control that you need to consider when you are imagining a camera moving around in a space. Now that I've explained how we control the camera, I'll create a few examples and draw some mannequins. Here on screen, I'm drawing out 2 mannequins posing together. Here I have the camera the same as I did when looking at the box at the start. The camera level is around the middle of the subject, and I haven't changed the camera angle, instead it's pointing directly forwards, straight on. I've also put the diagram of the camera looking at the cube on a side view next to this as I draw this out. Remember, we can control the camera and look at the subject at different angles, but like I explained at the start of the video, it's also possible for the subject to rotate and move as well. Now I'll draw the same mannequins but move the camera. Here I'll move the camera level up and angle the camera downwards to draw them from above. So here the camera level is raised up and I've tilted it downwards to look at these mannequins. Because of this, the horizon line is off screen, being above the mannequins. I'm also trying to draw these mannequins in the same position, applying what we had looked at with the cube to these mannequins instead. To conclude this video, I'll finish by drawing these mannequins from another angle. Here I'll move the camera level down and angle the camera upwards to draw them from below. I've also panned the camera to the left here, which you can see by looking at the camera diagrams at the side of the screen. Now there's still a few things to cover in regards to cameras and drawing in perspective, but I don't want to overload you with too much information in one video. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of what's possible and a look behind the scenes, I guess, showing what many artists are considering when they draw. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, then please leave a like, and with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the content I create, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You will gain access to exclusive tutorials, study documents, process papers, real-time drawing footage and more. Plus you will also be supporting me in a more personal way. Other than that, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you soon.